Hi members, Brad here. Just another wonderful Monday. I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, and I said, I'm just gonna do a little quick member video. So yesterday, I brought up the word. I didn't even bring up the word. I talked about Trump. I brought up his picture. A lot of hate. I don't understand it. We don't know what policies he's actually going to get passed. We can make a lot of assumptions, but we don't know. We don't know which policies he'll get passed and which ones won't get passed. That's why the Fed is being more cautious. They definitely have to lower the rates. And we're not seeing inflation go down, and they're lowering rates. So anyway, lots of hate. Didn't want to cause hate. Just thought I'd throw that out that, hey, that was not the intention. And that's a lot to do with people not knowing previous videos about, hey, they have to roll the debt and the cost of the national debt. And that's the tough one, right? So anyway, you know which side of the fence I fall on anyway, but I just thought I'd throw that out for conversations. And I am going to do the Round Hill Roundup tomorrow and show you how that $1,000 testing's doing. And we're going to do MMORT on New Year's Day, I think, or the day after. Mortgage REIT. Something to talk about. I'm not going to invest in it. And that's it. I do SFAL. So I already have my appointment set up on January 7th. So video to come. But January 7th is my meeting with Eric from SFAL. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to ask him to record it. I want to get his opinion on some of the underlyings and why the underlyings have been underperformance and the changes of going from IVV to treasuries. Hopefully he can explain it to us so we just don't all jump ship. I think it's a great fund. I really do. I really think I can get my 8%. I just hate the seeing that. I mean, I can understand a 1%, 2% NAV erosion, but seeing more than that, that's the problem. That is the overall problem. Is it's not 1 or 2%. It's greater than 1 to 2%. At least that's my opinion. It's greater. I don't know. I haven't looked at a chart. I did look at a chart. Now I did run all the underlyings. I have them all charted out, so I know exactly which ones. And hey, we just talk about it. I mean, let's face the music. Let's talk about it and figure out which way it's going. It's New Year. I got to take a distribution January 2nd, whenever the markets open back up. Got enough money for this month and for rent, but January 2nd is my second distribution that I'm taking out of my retirement accounts and paying the penalty on top of it. All the pain and suffering. But that's what you get. That's what you get for jumping out 2.5 years before 59.5. I had a really interesting conversation today at a coffee shop. Talked to a retiree, and I went to the coffee shop with my wife to read my book. I finished the other book, got a new book coming. That's a whole different story. But we were just conversation. He's been retired. Busier than busy can be. He was taking down Christmas lights. Always has the odd job, according to him. And there you go. He was taking down Christmas lights. But the people that sat down right afterwards, he is a CEO of a very large generator company. They make generators for data centers. Imagine that. And we're not talking the little bitsy ones you have in your house. These are the big boys. 3,200 kWh. That's 3,200, not 32, 3,200 kWh, right? KWs, right? Big boys. They're getting the diesel engines out of Germany. is where their engines are coming from. Really, I drove by his plant. It's a brand new plant. We were only about a half a mile from his plant. He came in with his wife, and I sat down and talked to him. And the best part was, and I guess I should have took a picture with him. He was a professional drag racer, and ran on the professional drag race circuit. That's where he got it started at. And my wife and I just had a conversation with him and his wife. They ended up having to leave. Would have really liked to sit down with him, talk about things. He sits on a board for a company in Germany. So he's a board of directors in Germany, runs his own business, and it's a huge manufacturing facility here. We drove by it. It was an impressive, brand new manufacturing facility. He's got 730 some employees, and it was interesting how that all worked out. We actually crossed paths in our lives because he was a regional manager of private distribution at one time, and I was a regional manager of private distribution, and the company that I represented was what he had in his plant for equipment. So he knew who I was and didn't, well, anyway, it's a long story. He didn't know me personally, but he knew my company, that I was the regional manager for distribution that covered the West Coast, and he had that equipment in his plant, and that was what his plant was running off of. So anyway, it was a very interesting conversation. He also knew what my last job was, where I was the product manager, because they're the largest players in Europe. So intercrossing paths, and we actually had some of the same distributors of equipment because we kind of crossed paths on that. We know each other's competition. So it was interesting to have that conversation with that CEO. And and it was a privately held company. Just throw that out. He is not a publicly traded company. It's privately held, and that's very interesting for the size of that facility he owned. Anyway, that's it. That's the update. Don't have much else to tell you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Round Hill Roundup with the testing of YieldMax and Round Hill, and Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday will be MMORT, the REIT, and we'll go from there. Till next time. God bless.